acutely aware of how much hair is on one side of my head and not the other side, from like front to back. But I've always had a lot of forehead. But I think I'm gonna shave it all and get into those hats that detect brainwaves and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like get one of those kits or something, or like try to make my own and like detect like brain detection. Detect brain detection. That was thought out all the way. Okay, let's make sure the sound's working. Sweet, I think we might be able to heat this opening up.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, I just forgot about the main important part of cold open is to make sure video is actually live.
Torch it.
Oh man, I had to slam asthma steroids today. I'm so shaky from albuterol.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit's no joke, man. Like it was like the last time I had a.
Wait, I don't hear you.
No.
I just realized that I had. Here we go. Now.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can
How
you hear me now?
neglectful was I that I didn't actually get your level, just mine?
Checklist, folks.
Checklist. Yeah, that I don't think that's on the checklist as a separate thing. I think it's like you're included in. You should be included in getting my levels. Wow, it's weird seeing what I'm saying up here in text at the bottom. That's cool. It's auto blind people words atizing our video right now.
Yeah.
Closed captioning, that's the term. Yeah. Oh, I got you spicy.
For blind people?
Well, I guess anyone can that's muted. For muted people. Let's see. This is... Oh, sorry about all that sound. I didn't have the front of the mic facing at me. That's why the head turning was so silly. Okay. Thanks for playing along. All right. Now we can really get the grease going. Okay.
Yeah.
It's real. We're real. Welcome to Greasy Conversation on RadioVegas.rocks, the dank news talk show where we pull up live on video at greasyconversation.com. Also replay there if you're doing the audio version right now. And you don't even have to look at the video. You can go to our news notes and see links to the actual articles and their videos that we're citing. So we're open source. There's all kinds of Easter eggs in our news notes. Just go to greasyconversation.com. Greasy Conversation. If you haven't put the spelling together yet, it's totally the way it's normally spelled. And our news notes are linked to the article for this episode. And enough for the new folks. You're going to get up to speed real quick because the beginning is the beginning of Under the Sea of deep dives. Wow.
The beginning of everything.
Yeah. In the ocean, that happened.
It's true. Something did start in the ocean one time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. All right. How about a body odor evaluation? Like
this is a service you can get done?
Oh, yeah, it is a service.
Like you can have your body odor professionally evaluated?
Yeah, man. Totally. This
and ranked? Is it like a...
I didn't see if they do rankings.
It'd be cool to win. Like you do all this stuff with your diet and your exercise so you smell the best. You eat like eucalyptus and flowers and stuff.
Well, so the company is called Odorate.
Hey, Jonas is here. Hey, I love that jacket too. So we have a special amount of AI in this episode. So we...
Oh yeah, that's slick, man.
Tapped our certified AI correspondent to help us, not just with the AI news that we'll have later, but to just goof in general, because we are a reaction show to the dank news, so you get our reaction layer too.
Glad to be here.
Excellent.
Sweet.
So now I'm cutting your head off with the article time. Okay, cool.
I'll take it.
So we're talking about smell evaluations right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a company called Odorate that will perform these evaluations for you. As far as I can gather, they'll have you wear a T-shirt, and then you send the T-shirt in, and they analyze the odor. I forget what they use. There's some kind of device that can discern the chemicals from your sweat.
I bet you it's that thing that detects bomb scents at the airport. You wipe the thing and then they put it in the other box, and it sees what chemicals it smells on there. That's a smelling, right? I feel like that's in the smelling category, technologically.
Gas
Yes,
chromatography.
it is that one. Okay,
Mass spectrometer,
totally.
or the GCMS for short.
Yeah, mass spectrometer. I can actually give you a little insight on that. You correct me, all of y'all, but however you get it, you get the. When you look at a star, you can see what's made out of it by what light is coming off of it and where that light sits on the spectrum. So when you see extra light or a gap in light in any particular band, there's like a fingerprint of what bands are involved in what chemicals. So you can find out what something's made of with a spectrograph time. Yeah. The details of how they get it to be light, that's where things differ.
Yeah, so that's it. They give you, or they look for 25 different chemicals associated with unpleasant body odors, and then they give you a rating on a scale of 1 to 5, letting you know if you should just never leave your house again, because we all know you don't shower, or if you smell like a bed of roses.
Nice.
It's interesting what constitutes like pleasant versus unpleasant smells, and like what really those constructs come from.
Yeah, that's true. That's an interesting...
Because I feel like a smell is a very subjective thing for them
Totally.
to rate it on a 1 to 5 Likert scale for good to bad smell in whose eyes.
There's going to
Exactly.
be cultural differences in some
Exactly.
Yeah, 'cause
of these.
this
That's one of
is-
the first things I thought.
Yeah, because this is a Japanese company, and I didn't realize, but their culture does value cleanliness fairly highly. And I guess being responsible for your body odor is a big thing, where they actually have a word, sumahara, which translates in English to smell harassment.
Nice.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, that's such a good concept, man. I love stuff like that.
Oh, because everybody remembers those times when you're around somebody like at the gym or like in a locker room.
Oh, yeah.
Or just anybody who is not wearing any deodorant.
Or like when I've been that guy where like I forgot to put on deodorant in the morning, like running out the door, and I'm like, oh God, you just know, you're just harassing people all over the place.
Were
with
you
that smell.
smell harassing yourself in that moment?
Yeah, a little bit, but I think like it's with everyone. You're like used to your own BO, so it's not like terrible.
Exactly.
You know, you can tolerate it, but
So I always wonder, BO versus your own like natural pheromones. Where is the difference between like that natural smell that you're supposed to give off, like to attract mates or things along that line, and like,
when it gets to like BO territory,
yeah,
I can weigh in on this.
really,
I think that
you're a
there's-
smelly guy was.
No, I've given this a lot of thought,
Oh,
and like how this plays into like romance and relationships with scent.
ooh, okay,
Because
cool.
there's sweet spots. Have you ever noticed if you like take tabs on yourself, if you get scientific about it, there's a certain period after a shower where you like don't expect to smell, but like if you wipe a certain area and then smell your hand and then politely wash your hands afterwards, you'll notice there's some early smell but it's like kind of familiar and comforting. It doesn't immediately read as bad, but then that smell and what it's made of like spoils. And then once it
Interesting way to
turns
think
and
about
like other bacteria starts eating what made that smell and thriving, and then that bacteria poops on you, then you get the next realm. And then when other bacteria likes the poop of the first bacteria,
and they just latch right on, and
then things escalate.
that's the most intricate way I ever heard it put.
Yeah, so if you like, you can be like surgical and like fresh showered and just come at your significant other as a blank canvas, or like, I know people I've been with, there was a stage where I checked like a chemical compatibility, just like scent wise, where you like smell someone's like scalp and you're like, where some people you're like, whoa, our children would be so healthy by
It
the smell of their
smells so
scalp.
good.
yeah.
Like, you smell like we've got way compatible genes, or at least different genes, or weirdly familiar genes. So like, I think that's not the only way to fall in love, but I think it plays a factor, and I think that like I avoided. The same thing happens with women on certain birth control. It'll disrupt the part of the brain that does this, that checks for this, and all of a sudden they'll be repulsed by their lover. And they've found it to be strongly tied to the scent and the way they interpreted the scent of their other. So that can go awry. There's another factor with this. It'll come back to me. I think that
Have you guys ever
covered
had
it.
an issue with like smelling, like when someone's gonna get a cold?
You
No,
can
I've never
no.
smelled sickness before.
Yeah, I usually
You can sense.
I can. Oh, not
The
like
illness?
everyone, but like certain people.
That's so
There's a
interesting.
very peculiar smell for like a
Here.
cold.
This can be further this way, so
Oh,
you
okay.
don't have to lean back as much. There you go. No, a popular layer of the show is how much I adjust the mics. So there's no shame in me doing it.
Yeah, adjust them all over.
and making all the mic noises that I generally love to do.
All right, what's a weird smell that you guys think would not be generally considered good? That
You like?
Yeah.
You like?
Oh, I love this question.
my go-to is kimchi.
Really?
Yeah,
That's so.
I have to say I think kimchi smells good though. But I
Yeah.
mean a lot of people do but like it's really polarizing. A lot of people don't.
yeah, totally.
Because it's fermented.
Yeah, yeah. It smells kind of funky, but it's the good funk.
I really like I'm not a smoker, but I like the smell of like smoke.
Me too. Like I like
Really?
cigarette smell.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but mostly like not even but like for like mostly in like foods, doesn't have to be fully cigarettes, but just like the smell of smoke that's like maybe in booze or in food, like something about like the smell of smoke I really like.
Oh.
That's interesting.
Have you ever made burnt ice?
I've never burned my ice. I need them for drinks.
No, you'll love this. You take this is probably not the best way to do it, but it's a way I discovered. You burn bread, and then you take the burnt and like scrape it off
Okay.
onto some ice, and then the ice tastes burnt somehow. It's the weirdest mind trick. Hella science. So,
I just hold on.
We're not gonna rush past this.
Yeah.
oh
okay.
yeah,
Like who?
So
ca-
you're
who
you're burning toast and scraping it onto already formed ice, or is this going into
Yeah.
your like ice cube makers and you're like, I'm making burnt ice?
either way,
I just want to know like who came up with the idea.
me entirely.
Yeah.
I just
Makes
know that
sense.
other people did parallel thought wise
Yeah.
because I've seen it separately from me.
What kind of
afterwards.
drinks would you put this burnt ice in? That's
Oh.
I think that's the real question.
Super fun question. I feel like it pairs with something bourbony or like a whiskey,
Awesome.
right?
Makes sense.
I'm
yeah.
more than a fan right
Some
now.
kind of Johnny Walker color.
Well, okay, because they're made in burnt barrels. So
It's like you got an extra Bernie barrel dose. Yeah, 2020 Bernie 2022. I'm messing it up. Yeah, I'll have me a Sanders Walker.
I can
How
totally
burnt?
picture you scraping off some burnt toast into your drink.
Yeah, it
For
wasn't
flavor.
something I kept doing. So, and I discovered it by accident. It was a really complicated breakfast.
Wait. What were you drinking during breakfast that you were like, I'm scraping the toast in?
Orange juice.
Now that is...
The orange juice was warm. I wanted to throw some ice in it. I burnt the toast. Burnings from the toast got on the ice trying to chill out the orange juice. I mean, it just was a.
But there's so much sugar in OJ. I
And you
feel
knew-
like that's such an intense flavor.
This wasn't recently, but yeah, it was great.
All right.
I feel like there's on the scent thing. I don't want to linger on this, but
Oh, okay.
have you or anyone you've known been able to smell menstruation before? For me, there was like a chunk in high school where I must have been just like bonus puberty, because like I had this sense in like up into my early 20s, but I don't think I have it anymore. Unless I really love someone, then I bet I could like tune in on them. Because I don't have the best sense of smell; it just like pops up. Okay,
Like I
Not
know
to-
animals can sense blood. That joke, like the bears smell the menstruation.
yeah, like I think that's really a thing, but I think it might not be that, but it might be like a body scent of that time period also signaling. Because there's all kinds of primal signals that we don't like use anymore
Yeah,
as
totally
consciously,
subconsciously, yeah.
but they happen and they.
So you can set. So during puberty, your awareness for menstruation was heightened.
Towards the tail end of it and like through early 20s. Like
Right.
coworkers and stuff.
That could have been a superpower, man.
Yeah, or,
You should have trained. You should have trained.
Yeah.
there's some weird variables too, though, because it was all people that I knew well enough to even be able to ask them about it. So it wasn't, I didn't have, just ask everyone around
Not a large
me.
sample
Oh no,
size.
Like,
you should have went.
like grab
you
a
should have went
customer.
there. Be like, I'm really working on my new sense. Is it the time?
I'm
Is it
working
that
at
time?
Domino's and I go running from the pizza oven to grab a customer by the shoulder and be like, hey,
But you'd ask
By
everybody
any
just to make
chance.
sure you were missing one. So you'd have to be asking like every person you saw and be like, I knew it. I knew you weren't there yet. Give it 2 weeks.
Yeah.
you can tell what stage.
Yeah. You got about 3 days.
Oh, man.
Just to let you know.
Speaking of smells, my buddies at Donut Media on YouTube just did a comparison of all of the Little Trees air fresheners.
Oh, like black ice and
Yeah.
like, okay.
Black Ice is actually the best selling one.
Oh yeah. I don't know why.
Um,
I think it's the color.
some people really like, it's kind of like why Axe body spray sells. To who it's for, they're buying it. Like, I feel like there's a certain age in life where like it smells good, and we're just like not the right age for Axe to get it. Because it's
Possibly.
I
gotta
don't
be.
think I was
For
ever
Little
the right
Trees.
age.
I feel like there's a Old Spice like family line though too, like whatever your first girlfriend's dad smelled like affects your smell for like a big chunk of your
Wait,
life.
I-
Because your first girlfriend will like train you how to smell, and she'll generally pattern it off of her dad. So like my first girlfriend that I had for like a significant chunk of time, like first like committed relationship, like her first like event gift to me was like an Old Spice kit. Holla,
That's
Laura.
pretty.
All right, so I have to ask if there was a Sixth Sense, like one after the ones we had, like what do you think it would be?
Supposedly taste, not taste, but there's another taste. I don't know.
What
Oh
I
no, I'm
think
not
it
talking
would
about like the different kinds of tastes that are out there. I'm just saying like
Yeah.
if you could think of something besides like sight and touch,
Like, what would
and
I-
sound,
yeah.
like where would your mind go first to some other way to experience your surroundings?
This is a really fun question.
be. Damn.
I would love to see other chunks of the electromagnetic spectrum for sure. Like,
But
detect
how would
radio
you experience?
waves.
Like I'm like 'cause
Yeah,
to
yeah,
me
yeah.
that sounds more like a seeing thing. But I want to say like how would you feel like you'd be experiencing them?
sound, especially like patterns of nearby frequencies, we understand the best through our sense of sound.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like vision, you can see colors blend, but it's not as complicated over time. Like if you see a color shift in time, you're nowhere near as attuned to it as when you hear like a chord shift in time. And that can be as subtle of a combination of frequencies. So we're way better at understanding the mathematical relationships between frequencies in hearing than we are in vision. Because we take it completely for granted. We see it as just like, oh, those are harmonious or those are not. When really there's complicated math happening with that to compare. It's kind of like a polyrhythm of like 3/4, how it's like pass the goddamn butter, pass the goddamn butter. When they come together, it's easy to like count and be like, oh, at one point your hands do the same thing, one, and then it's the two hands at once thing. When you hear chords and chord relationships, it's that at crazy high frequencies that you couldn't count and figure it out, but your brain does and gives you a perception of tone then. It's the weirdest thing. So I feel like that's what we do with radio waves. Like you'd hear the carrier tone and you'd hear all kinds of, it'd probably be really annoying though, because it'd sound like a fax modem. So I
All
just
the
hear a
time.
screeching fax modem all the time with all the radio data because it's all digital. Okay,
So-
this is the worst sense I could wish upon anyone.
But Waz, that's more of a superpower just to me because then you're just hearing something that nobody else can hear, and
Yeah.
you're still working within the realm of what we've already perceived to be the five senses we have.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just wondering, like, is there anything that you
Yeah,
can
we could
wrap
take
your
this
mind
further.
if you can wrap your mind around it, not just like a superpower of a sense, like
a way of interpreting it.
Yeah, a different way of experiencing something.
Nice.
What about like
You emotionally, you're like,
being
oh,
able to accurately like experience time, like not in the way we perceive time, but and like how time actually moves, I guess. I don't know, it's hard to explain.
while you're pondering that, shout out to Limited Edition. Shout out to Australia. What up,
Yeah.
Brian? Brian's like
I like
one of
the
my
aging
assistants.
sense.
Yeah.
Like a sense
We
of
go-
aging. Like you just feel yourself getting old.
Just keep getting older.
That'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, Brian
what's,
says hi.
what's your
Thank
I don't know.
goodness
I
you're
just
here,
thought
Buck.
about it because I couldn't really. I
Remote
was trying to think of some
correspondent
other
Buck.
way to try to
What up,
experience something
Erica?
because like
Yeah.
last time I was here was all about like vision and like touch. Like that's everything we're talking about was like seeing things and being able to touch. And right now we're talking about smell and hearing, and I'm just like,
what would another sense be? Like,
Another experience of a sense, too. Because like we have these words for ways that our brain takes in data and categorizes it a certain way. So this is all just data entry, categorized different ways by us. And what could be like another category that it would probably be related to some emotion, I'm thinking. Like some obscure emotion, like there's a certain kind of like melancholy where you're kind of half happy. I wonder if you'd feel like, or if it could be like an itch in a certain imaginary part. Like, oh, I just feel like, like the feeling of ASMR, how it's described as like a tingle in the scalp, so to speak, or at the base of the spine. And what if you got some kind of interesting kind of tingle like that when you're just like, oh, I sense danger. I've got that tingle,
yeah, it makes
that
sense to
bat
be
tingle.
something like that. But also, it's like it's even difficult to talk about because
yeah,
we
because
don't have
tingle's
the
a touch. We don't have the words for
we
it.
don't
Yeah.
have the words for it. Yeah, we're
No.
like really, but then it's like there's another layer of that where like being limited in the language to actually describe things like actually limits your ability to think about it in any concrete way because we're
Yeah.
trying to come up with ideas and like how would you even
Verbalize it
Yeah.
or even come to the
or
creation
even
of a
be
thought
ab-
around it. I
yeah.
know that's where my mind immediately went when I sat down here. For
It's like
some
you
reason.
need like a new organ and all that.
I think
I
all
don't
the
know.
time about what is crispy. Like there's an eating crispy, there's like a video crispy. Like, oh, you can see
Alright.
harsh edges when something's soft. There's no edges, so crispy, obviously opposite of soft. Or a sound that's crispy. Ooh, or no, that's too crispy. I'm like cutting my fingers on that sound. And you've got these overlapping descriptions. That's where we could talk about this other sense a little bit. Like, what if it was when you just detected water nearby? So plants can supposedly perceive the sound of water and will grow towards a speaker playing water sounds, which blows my mind. That's more than just the chemical detection of like water having a certain kind of smell to it. So certain things being in it. What if you're just like, wow, I'm feeling wet? Like you perceive wetness, but there's no wetness on you just because there's water nearby.
I like it. That's cool. Way to bring it there.
Yeah. Dig it. Should we take our first
Yeah. Before we do, though, hit your volume up on that machine a couple of times because I put it at a different place than usual. Just go like 3 or 4 notches from the top. All right. Now let's Bob Thornton, everybody.
Let's give Ireland the soap it deserves. Introducing Dr. Squatch's Irish Cream and Whiskey Soap. Smooth and natural, like dropping a shot of whiskey and cream into a stout beer. You'll smell like a crisp, clean Irish morning with scents of whiskey and muck. With ingredients like potato water, reishi mushroom, milk thistle, Irish moss and stout beer. You'll feel like you're out celebrating with your lads at the pub.
Hey guys, listen up. Receive 20% off all orders $20 or more at Dr. Squatch when you use coupon code RVR20.
Whoa there, cowboy. Is your love life drier than a June sagebrush poking pricklies on a desert cattle's bunghole? Well, look no further, fella. The cavalry has arrived. Spunk Lube. That's right, Spunk Lube. This ain't your average romance jelly jam. Whether you're sharing a 10-up and broke back or flying solo, Tonto, Spunk Lube will have you slinging your Cyclops and whistling out your Dixie. For group parties playing cowboys and Indians or just a quick one around in the chamber, Spunk Lube gets you hydrated for those long rides of bumping uglies into the sunset. Don't put a bounty on your head. Drizzle Spunk Lube instead. That's Spunk Lube, partner.
sudden crash, 10 calorie, low carb, vitamin B, the healthy energy mix. Zip Fizz.
Grape Zip Fizz. Kind of give me the idea of sitting in a pool on one of them little floaty things with something nice on the side of me. You know, feeding me grapes or something. You know, Grape Zip Fizz.
Zip Fizz energy, no sudden crash, 10 calorie, low carb, vitamin B, the healthy energy mix. Zip Fizz.
Hi, my name is Lily. My mom and dad used to fight about money all the time. Then one day, I heard them talking about this guy, some uncle I never knew, called Uncle Sam. Well, they say this Uncle Sam guy wanted them to pay him like $1 gazillion, and they didn't have $1 gazillion. So they called this company they heard on the radio called the Tax Doctor. And the Tax Doctor worked with Uncle Sam's people. I think they're called the IRS. And they're able to work it out so my mom and dad didn't have to pay Uncle Sam very much money at all. So now mom and dad are happy, and I'm happy too. Thanks, Tax Doctor.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, call now and pay less.
800-918-7169. 800-918-7169. That's 800-918-7169.
Hey, it's Chairman James Riley from Rockabilly and Blues Radio Hour.
And this is Beth Riley from Boppin' with Beth.
Now, you can listen to my wife Beth here on RadioVegas.rocks on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Pacific for a focus beam artist, their influences and peers, and more.
And you can listen to my husband James on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific for modern and vintage rockabilly, blues, and whatever else he can get away with.
Now, I promise you'll like Boppin' with Beth better.
No way, they'll like Rockabilly and Blues Radio Hour better.
Boppin' with Beth.
Rockabilly and Blues.
I'm telling you, Boppin' with Beth.
Be sure to get your mix of music. Listen to us with the RadioVegas.rocks app available at the App Store. And check out our VIP card, interact with us in our chat room, and scheduling of our RadioVegas.rocks shows, plus podcasts. It's all available on RadioVegas.rocks app.
And we're back. This is Greasy Conversation on RadioVegas.rocks, rocks.
Yeah, I like to say dot, but we're not going to enforce it, right? You know, say like Radio Vegas Decimal Rocks.
All right, can we talk about this new blue? There's been a new blue pigment.
New blue.
Which, like, I don't know. I have a weird obsession with the color blue, I guess. Like,
Is it your favorite?
Yeah, it is.
Are we talking light, dark, electric? What blue shade is your favorite?
And when did it change most recently?
Royal blue.
Royal.
But this is Yinmin blue, it's called.
Can you tell the difference by looking at it?
I mean, I don't know. If you had this in like a similar blue, I mean, I probably couldn't pick them out of a lineup. But
The
I'm also
special?
like blind.
This is not like the frequency.
We're all
of
wearing
the-
glasses right now. So.
Yeah, none of us are like super good at seeing.
Yeah.
Of this.
I think that like I'm almost girl level good at detecting color though. I think I've got pretty decent color separation time. I feel like I exercised it when I was young, so I'm like stronger at it, which probably is completely untrue. Excuse me.
That was pretty exciting.
Oh yeah, you have to make your burps exciting on this show.
Oh,
so
I didn't. Okay.
You want people to fear your life rather than be disgusted. Like, oh man, is he okay? Was that safe for him? Rather than being like, ew, what a gross noise. They'd be like, oh no. A lot of things in life can work like that.
So, fear.
Yeah, like if you're concerned about someone, you're way less judgy of them. So,
I take that back. Pity.
well, yeah, pity
Fear
plays a
and pity.
role, but I feel like you can play that pity card too hard, and I don't know, it's just not my flavor. You know, I like to be more. I think someone being afraid if I'm okay is different than pitying me, and it's important to me to differentiate that. Yeah, like one is more of an active concern, and one is more of like, you know, you can pity someone and it's more passive. Like I want active concern about my safety.
All right, so next burp's got to be 10 times louder.
Yeah, or
The next scream.
Or fall.
Scream burp.
it's more of a scream. Yeah, it has to be the more interpreted as like a cry.
I want to hear a guttural skirp, like real deep.
Like, ah! These are the kind of things that make Jay ask about my show later.
Yeah.
I think I saw him sleeping while I walked by.
Not anymore.
Oh, damn.
So this blue is less of a certain spectrum.
It looks a little neon to me. It looks like a neon color. I feel like it would glow in black light.
Yeah, something about the way the light's popping off of it.
Yeah,
But
what it's made out of, it absorbs more red and green light and then reflects more blue light, which is why it's so bright.
And that's what's special about it, is what it's made out of. It's been 200 years since we've found a new way to make a pigment in blue, a new chemical or material or molecule. So this molecule got discovered by accident, and then now it's being marketed as a new way to bluetize things, to pigment, to colorate, you know.
Yeah, it was actually discovered. I think what is it made out of?
It's made
yttrium,
out of
I think is the
yttrium
one.
and what? Minnesota? What chemical is that? It tells me here. Manganese.
But that it was discovered like 10 years ago, but it's just been in the process of being approved to be sold to the public, which it now is, and it's like $107 for for a 1.3 ounce tube. $179.
Oof.
For a 1.3 ounce tube of that paint. Damn.
That's what it is now, but things
I
go
think
down.
we should go a little more back in time. I don't know. I remember when I was in Florence and I was at this monastery where they were making books.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And they had all of these old school ways of them actually creating the pages and creating all of the colors.
Oh, wow.
And the different minerals and stones that they would grind to actually create colors was
Wow.
and there was no way that would be costing $179 a gram using the stones.
Yeah, totally.
Nah, clearly there's other ways to do it, but if you want that cutting edge new blue, you know what I see this going into, honestly, is there's ways of adding a layer to a display to get truer color. You wouldn't think, knowing that, okay, you've got this backlight that's supposed to be trying to be white, and then you've got these 3 different colors of lenses that you can turn on and off or dim them, and then you blend your colors of pixels that way. But now there's often another layer yet that does some color changing to it to help it fill in the gaps, or there'll be more than 3 colors of subpixel.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how that's going on in display tech. So I could see it going into there to have more control over. We're not, so it's less of a, the minerals that people die over and stuff. There might be conflict minerals that we can avoid with this blue, maybe.
The minerals people die over.
That's a stretch.
I love it. First private crew will visit the space station.
All right. It's funny that you'd think that would have happened by now. They would at least toss another teacher up there or something.
Yeah. But it's going to cost $55 million each person. It's a 4-person crew. One is a former astronaut. Then the rest are, I don't know, some rich fucks or something.
Oh, no, I'm pretty sure it's 100% rich fucks. Oh, you mentioned an astronaut. Maybe they're not. I don't know how. You assume astronauts are rich, but who knows how they manage it.
Does money even work in space? Not yet.
There you go.
We haven't blessed the galaxy with the good word of capitalism.
When we have a cislunar economy.
Yeah, man.
Have you heard about the cislunar economy?
No, I have not.
It's going to be everyday language in the next 10 or 20 years for us. And we'll be like, wow, remember then that was a new term? Remember when it felt weird to say internet? That's what it'll be like to say cislunar economy before long. And it's just the concept of commerce and money being made between the moon and the earth through mining and tourism initially and research. And there's also products that are difficult to make with gravity. For example, I'm forgetting what it's called in this moment, but we reported on it previously. A material, it's like a way of refining titanium or something, that when you do it in space, you have way less impurities form. And so you can make this much stronger, like, metamaterial in space. A company called Made in Space is messing with that. And also 3D printers on your satellite that 3D print the arms for the solar cell wings. So the solar cell wings, as they expand, they do it on trussing that is being 3D printed in space.
Wouldn't it cost a lot less for them to, manually create a vacuum sealed where they can pull the oxygen out or pull the gravity
yeah, and that's
out?
done.
And can't they build in there instead?
The thing, you can pull the oxygen out, you can't pull the gravity out. The only way to simulate that kind of lack of gravity with it would be to have like a plane keep diving. And even like a centrifuge or something, it only does one direction. It doesn't remove
right.
Yeah,
we haven't got to the point of like 0G tech.
Yeah, I'd like to think
I'm
that a
trying to
lot
think
of
of
things
some
were
possible
tried
way to
before.
build.
We've got to make this in space.
I was assuming.
Sure, they've tried a few other things first. No, but it's funny. Like, you had the thoughts that I did, and I actually went on a dive on this a few months ago when this first came up. I was like, "Are you
wait,
kidding me?"
Did they? Don't they train people
right.
before they get up there?
I swear, there's ways we can do this a little different.
I like the idea of having like a little lab on a plane, like those planes they do for astronaut testing.
It goes up and down, and they're just working on it.
Yep. Like, all right, here it comes. Here comes the
Get back in your seat.
20 seconds to 0G. Get ready to work.
Have you seen Red Bull change tires in zero gravity?
No, I didn't know that
Check
was a
this out.
thing.
The 0G pit stop. It's very much like you all described as far as what this would look like. Yeah. It's what you think. I'm going to skip to the end when they actually do it. It was such a production. The team and the camera people both had to choreograph this thoroughly. And here's where it's going on. Let me make sure this is lined up for you all real quick. This is insane. GreasyConversation.com to see the video that we're looking at, and RadioVegas.rocks to click on some banners to help us actually monetize this thing, because Lord knows we can't with YouTube monetization. Oh no, that was like the tail end of it. Kudos to Red Bull, because they've got like an LED dot matrix screen going on behind them.
The lights in the background.
Yeah,
Great.
and they slow motion it.
Nice.
Ooh.
It's very Space Odyssey 2001.
My favorite part is they rotate the car in the air at one point.
Yeah. That's crazy, because each of those dives can't be very long that you experience the 0G, but also those dudes can like do a pit stop in 5 seconds or something. Even if that, I don't even know. It's probably like something stupid fast.
That's one of the things Red Bull's known for in F1 is revolutionizing how fast you can do a pit stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's they changed the game on that historically.
Just do like everything in 0G, just like on those planes. Just start doing everything.
I know that's quite a flex of like YouTube clout though. Like crazy stuff to do on YouTube. Red Bull's like, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, we didn't look at
pit stop during a shuttle launch.
A couple episodes ago, I popped in the notes. There was a compilation of the Red Bull soapbox derbies. And
oh yeah, those are a good time.
Yeah, we looked at a couple once, but they made a compilation of them. And if you missed that episode, let me just show you some clips from these things. They make, this is just crashes I keep cutting to. They make these crazy soapboxes with all kinds of themes. This is the super serious dude. This old man takes it to the limit. Look at completely stoic, no expression. So awesome.
It looks like MXC for a second.
Yeah, right.
We just have to do the dub under it.
This guy. All right.
Okay, so this is the Tokyo one. There's a great breakdown of a bunch of them. I think this is my favorite, though. This unicorn guy is so great. He's slowing himself down with that, though. It's all right. It's for the show. He's dressed as a cloud. For the audio people, we saw someone ride in a car that was mostly grass. This one is a unicorn in a cloud, but it's also like a little buggy. These are unpowered vehicles that they race downhill with, and they're elaborately costumed. And that's why we recommend taking a look at this. They have to go over jumps too, is the best part, with these
Yeah, it's like a little obstacle course, yeah.
They're like half bicycle, a lot of these things. This one is a box of strawberries.
Nice. And the helmets. All right.
Barely makes over this teeter-totter thing.
Thin wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see him wobbling. I see you wobbling, dog. Get out of here with
Shaking that wobble. Don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
So you guys, let's move on to some more newsy time you've got lined up.
Yeah, how about, I don't know, because we got like a lot of AI news.
Yeah, we should hit the AI hard in the next, actually, no, we did a long break. You can go into AI news whenever.
Well, there's something specific. Hold on, it's like VR, let me find it. It's this guy...
there's a
like
cool...
uses VR to like meet his dead wife. They like created a avatar of his dead wife in the VR world.
Oh wow!
And he went to like meet her.
That's crazy that happened the same like news cycle as also Korea just resurrected a classic like folk star hero that died young, and they resurrected him in AI
for his voice.
Yeah, and he's doing new material with his voice. It's crazy. So they've brought him back to life to the point where there's new creation happening from what's
just using his voice, but which is bizarre. But like then we have like deep fakes, so it's entirely possible in the very near future that we'll have just like totally fabricated, I don't know, like political leaders or superstars. There's already like virtual idols in Japan. That's like a pretty big thing too. So, but there was like a Philip K. Dick book, but he wrote a book about every like sci-fi horror that can come to pass.
So this person, let's see, wife. I'm trying to see the article of the one. Yes, this is the one you're talking about. I just brought up the Korean star. This is, oh man, this is gonna make me cry. I'm like, I already got half a cry lined up to this. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like a
man.
Black Mirror episode.
I know.
Like
all right.
I don't know. VR's like a weird territory.
I'm gonna bust.
I don't know. Would you guys do that though? Like if you had an opportunity to meet, yeah.
Would you want to meet somebody who passed away or that you knew, or somebody like some historical figure that you wish you had met like in your time, like in their time?
This is a really great question, but I'm utterly distracted by the fact that I just want to be brought back this way. Like, would I feel some amount of consciousness if I can output new content? Because I've had this thought that, like, we're already capable of a lot of immortality as a species since there's been written language.
Mm-hmm.
There's been an ability to take someone's, like, essence as far as what is perceived by the rest of humanity. So if we think about humanity as, like, a hive entity, like this thing that's bigger, that's got these communities, and each community is kind of like an organism or slime mold. Each city, each even like group of friends. And if you can have a group of friends bring up jokes that you would say or be like, oh, that's so that guy, there's already an interpretation of an essence of what makes this person unique to these people. And if no one else can ever touch your thoughts that are inside, that experience that you have thinking about like being alive and conscious, if that never touches anyone else, then how much more alive are you than what's going to be left in those people? The only difference seems to be that when you're still alive, you're still imprinting on these people. You're still adding more data to what they have in their simulation of you. Because we have a simulation of the world in our heads, and the part of the brain that's built for that simulating is the biggest in us than any other animal, proportionately. That's like the special thing about humans, physiologically, as far as brain grows, is we've got way more of the type of brain that does simulating. Because obviously other animals do that, but not as hardcore as we do. But we still depend on other humans to refine that simulation. But everything we see, the whole reason why there's optical illusions, the whole reason why there's hallucinations, which are extremely common actually, is that simulation's going on, and everything we perceive is added to that simulation first and then perceived by the front of the brain. Aside from things that happen quicker than that, like, snap reflexes, and a lot of times emotional response will happen quicker than that perception through the simulation, and then your emotions won't match what's going on, which, like, I'm sure has never happened to any of you guys. So where I was going with that is that simulation is something about that simulation.
No, I caught it. I caught what you're putting out there.
I forgot the initial premise we were talking about.
No, the premise is that there's a part of you that everyone else remembers.
Yeah, and in a way, that's all that you are.
And yeah.
And that's might be all that you are now as far as what really matters. So at some point you stop adding to that, and then you're just left with what's the data that remains. And that's like the death as we perceive it, that still has some more immortality. But the best you have of having that new creation, the opposite of entropy, when there's data being organized. So every time you're doing anything with your personality or making a joke or something, it's data being organized, and it's something going the opposite direction of the natural entropy and decay and disorganization that we perceive time is going towards. So, like, that's the only way that you can talk about, like, or really quantify to explain to something that's quantum that doesn't perceive time as going either direction, or just perceives it as a dimension, that we're stuck falling in the direction towards decay, where it can look either direction and see decay and organization or disorganization, either direction. So if we're not organizing data anymore because we're dead, but this AI can be not just simulating what we would do with the personality that already organizes the data that already would, it can evolve and grow like we do and have like new jokes and new songs and stuff. Because the whole reason we come up with new stuff, that's why artists, sometimes their stuff like isn't special anymore. If they didn't grow and evolve with their audience, then they're just the same simulation doing the same crap they were before. The whole thing about being still alive and imprinting on your friends' new stuff is ideally away from them. You've grown and evolved and had newer stuff to base it on. So if you could be evolving in this simulation of yourself and able to create new art, at some point, are you going to have like a spark of self-awareness naturally appear in that simulation? At some point, you're going to start like banging on the walls of the box that you grew in now as this like disembodied intelligence that you just like write a song now.
Do you think you'd have the same consciousness that you did before?
Could it emerge is the question.
Could it emerge?
Yeah.
I've seen enough movies, read enough books that I would hope so.
Right.
Because I feel that any idea that we have has already happened or will happen, or it's coming from somewhere that has. So every one of those stories where there is a ghost in the shell, and there is some like thoughts in the machine is. I can't imagine it not be true. Like, where do you think errors come from in just regular code, writing any code or doing any programming?
I think
there's something in that.
Yeah, totally. I think a lot would have to do too with like if that simulated version of whoever has like an internal memory, because I think that's like a large part of consciousness is just having an internal history of yourself to like reflect onto the world.
Yeah.
Because it would be kind of, waking up fresh every day would be a whole lot different than like, oh, I've encountered like all this shit before.
And I feel like that history version, like once we get that, if we get it well enough that it can be like this Korean pop star and it's creating new stuff, would it suddenly wake up and be like no longer a history AI of you, but like a new one that's able to like react to current world circumstances and like chime in on what the new president is saying and stuff like that?
Yeah, just WAS 2.0.
Yeah.
Like,
Because at a certain point it ends up a filter. Like, oh, data goes in, data comes out with a stupid WAS joke put on it. And that filter can be applied to new stuff. Like, have you heard about convolution reverbs, how they work? This is an old tech, but finding out how it works is so crazy.
Lay it on me.
A convolution reverb is when you get what's called an impulse file. by, say, you go into a church and get the most accurate mic you can get, put it there, and then you make an impulse, kind of like a clap or a snap or something that like a Slate makes, when they clap the movie set, slammy fella down, little snappy do. You get an impulse like that. You generate that sound, and you've created this impulse file that sounds like what that sound sounds like in that cathedral or whatnot. And then convolution, there's plugins ever since the 90s that will take these convolution files. AMT effects, which are homies I met in NAM and in Russia that make cool effects. They have a couple of pedals that will just take these files and then be a reverb equivalent of like a pedal equivalent of that cathedral, or anywhere that you can go make your own impulse files. You can download impulse files from around the world taken for decades and just put them into this hardware that you could have as like a plug-in on your computer or a stomp box and get any reverb you want that way. And it just applies that impulse file to the sound put into it. It's the weirdest thing.
So it's capturing the essence of the space.
Yeah. In effect, anything you put in is going to sound like that space after being put through that impulse file. Kind of like a vocoder. How a vocoder, unlike autotune, it's just taking the wah-wah pedal or like frequency filteriness. Because your voice is two parts. It's a tone, and then the tone is shaped by your mouth to like cut out frequencies. Besides like clicky sounds and stuff, that's always a unique challenge. K's and T's. That's why a lot of languages like don't have those, and it's hard for those people to do that part of English, C's and T's. But and also R's. There's cultures that beat up on the R's and roll them like crazy. It's kind of, I think, an evolutionary show off, in that there's other cultures on the other side of the world that just are terrible at R's.
Maybe they just
not to call you out specifically.
Yeah. Maybe they were just like, who fucking needs that letter? We don't need that sound.
Yeah, it's hard. We're being efficient.
Yeah, exactly.
So, holy crap. I went on a whole row with things there. Why don't you tie it back into something?
This I wanted to.
Yeah, take it over. We're
done.
No, it was awesome.
So, I think that we need to make stupid shit to sell to stupid people, because there exists a Faraday beanie, which is a beanie that is supposed to protect you from
all the nasty
G's,
RF, all the G's,
EMF, radiation. No. Yeah. So
wait, is it tinfoil?
No, that's how it's like actually a tinfoil hat, and it's not tinfoil. Yeah.
No way.
But
it's just a regular wool cap.
It's a beanie. Yeah,
it's a
just
wool
a
cap,
beanie.
but it's like semi-conductive. Oh. And they've tested it, and
how? I want to see the test.
Oh, just like just like you test a Faraday cage, you just put a phone in it and see if you can call it. And it doesn't block as good as a real Faraday cage. It's not quite as conductive, but it does it.
Yeah, it does a little. Yeah, it's just
looks cool.
But because I saw this thing on an ad the other day, and I was like, they sell it like it'll protect you from
cancer,
like
and
5G radiation and all this stuff that like doesn't really affect you hardly at all, if at all.
Yeah, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people say that like they don't. They're not anti-5G. They just think there should be more studies done. They think there should be more research done before we just roll it out. These are all people that haven't looked at the decades of research that's been done. Like, the research has been done in the 90s. You've been messing with the same frequencies in your Wi-Fi in your home this whole time. It's just a different implementation of them. And the millimeter wave might be more advanced than like the frequencies going on in your Wi-Fi, sure. But they've been going through you in like government stuff and like private networks, and it just was crazy expensive. The only difference is now it's finally getting close to affordable to put into a phone, and it doesn't travel very far. And just like I hate people that think that just because they don't understand something or haven't tried to understand it, that everyone else has to do more research for them. Like, no, more research doesn't need to be done. Someone just
look
needs
up
to
the research that already exists.
Exactly.
But the problem with that is that there's a lot of people that claim to know about things and just make YouTube videos about them, and that's considered research to some people. And
like, I saw all these videos about people saying they didn't understand this, so I guess people don't.
I think you should come out with not just the hat, the gloves, the shirt, the shoe, like the entire clothing
onto
line
something
that does the whole thing, and just sell it.
Why protect just your brain?
Why protect just your brain? Like, the cancer waves can get in anywhere.
Yeah,
it's like
cancer waves.
You call it whatever you want.
Call them too. Yeah.
Yeah. Come up with something really intimidating.
Yeah. Scary.
Scare them into buying the scarf. The
scarf too. Yeah. Need some earmuffs.
Gloves. Yeah. I think you need a jacket.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I think you need a jacket for sure. I think those would sell real fast.
I like where this guy's head's at.
Because you were thinking about making money off this idea, like, just take it 3 steps further.
Yeah, that's great. Love it. Ding, ding, ding. All right, should we do our second round?
Yeah, this can be a quick one.
Bilbo Baggins.
Hey there, friends. This is Dan to tell you about Pinche's Tacos. They got a simple mission: provide you with the best taco experience in high-quality meats, seafood, fresh garden vegetables, handmade tortillas, and high-quality artesian bread. They've got a happy hour from Tuesday to Saturday, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Featured specials: $4 draft beers, margaritas, well drinks, $5 glass of wine, and $2 tacos. Show them the Radio Vegas Rocks app and Pinche's coupon, and when you order a blood orange margarita, you will receive a free Gringo taco. There are several locations to choose from, even in Los Angeles. Pinche's Tacos.
Hey, Radio Vegas Rocks listeners. It's your favorite habitual line stepper, Sober Sal from the Not Playing Stupid podcast. For those who know me, I'm all about barbecue. The problem I always run into is finding a place when I'm out of town that is 1, amazing, and 2, won't cut into my drinking money. So next time you're in Vegas, you gotta check out Jesse Ray's Barbecue. Jesse Ray's Barbecue is an award-winning barbecue joint that serves Vegas' best slow-smoked ribs, chicken, pulled pork, hot links, and my favorite, brisket. Trust me when I say it's not just good, it's delicious. So before you blow your kids' college fund at the roulette wheel, or marry the chick you met 5 hours ago while playing Keno, make sure you do it on a full, happy stomach at Jesse Ray's Barbecue, located at 5611 South Valley View Boulevard, right behind the Mandalay Bay Casino. Mention you heard this ad from my show, and you get a free punch in the mouth from sweet old Jesse Ray herself. That got some kick. So don't forget Jesse Ray's Barbecue, where they're all about that butt.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it. We specialize in helping the self-employed and people just like you that need affordable health insurance to get it. We have short and long-term health insurance plans, and some even cover dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Don't take a risk with your family's health insurance. It's not worth it. If you're self-employed or now need affordable health insurance, call right now and learn for free how to get it. Listen, affordable health insurance plans for everyone just like you are a free phone call away. So give us a shout right now.
800-670-0946. 800-670-0946. 800-670-0946. That's 800-670-0946.
Be sure to get your mix of music. Listen to us with the RadioVegas.rocks app available at the App Store. And check out our VIP card, interact with us in our chat room, and scheduling of our RadioVegas.rocks shows, plus podcasts. It's all available on RadioVegas.rocks app.
Okay, real quick, what we're talking about at the end. You're listening to Greasy Conversation on RadioVegas.rocks. Also, side plug, if you go to woz.lol, I also do music gadgets. And there's something that I was able to figure out with a Game Boy where the 3 voices have a slightly different timbre. Like, one's a little sharper than the other, one's a little bit mellower than the other. And which keys they get assigned to is pretty random. It just assigns them first come, first serve to notes that come in. So as you're playing a lead line or a chord, you don't know which timbre or which note is going to get. And of all the different plugins and synths I've messed with in my day, I can't think of another one where you can do that necessarily. There's some, and there's some old expensive ones where you can mess with the different voices, timbre, but generally you adjust it for all your voices at once, so you just got real reliable polyphony, as they say. So I want to know, holler at me, would you be more inclined to enjoy this concept as a piece of hardware or a plugin or an app? That's a thing now too, because there's stuff on the workbench that's going to get to the folks now. Yeah, I'm trying to find the niches, like the MIDI router I put together that's getting developed, or the MIDI auto-tune thing, or there's an arcade synth that I'm working on with Ted that the next step with that is going to be PCB. That's why I haven't thrown the other units together, is I need to get going on PCB design so I can have all the parts just go onto a board, and the labor assembling it would be dramatically different.
I was lucky enough to play with that one. It was suspiciously greasy.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah, it's really being held up by the sound module now too. We both need to spend more time on that. He's a little bit stuck, so I need to kind of like take over getting the sound module going a little further. So I don't just like leave it on his table.
Put arcade buttons on a music controller, I think you're in the right place.
Yeah, because there's only the MIDI fighter, and then there's not a lot of other examples. So I think with a PCB design one, and one that the PCB can be thrown into an enclosure and sold just as a controller, that's the freeway that product is about to hop on next, because Ted's layout is where the real genius is. Kudos to Ted. But it's not just the idea of throwing arcade buttons into a box. It's the idea that he has them arranged ergonomically, and the notes chosen on them are just the perfect notes, depending on what key you set it to. They holler a key, you set it to that key, and then all of a sudden you're playing all the best notes to go along with it, and you can just turn knobs for fun variations and emote and just be human and make human expressions without worrying about if the notes go or not. And that's the real genius that Ted had with that, and I want to get that to people in the controller form and PCB form, because we can sell PCB kits then too, and that would really give us more time to work on the sound module part.
I think it's an amazing idea. Oh, and then shout out to Ted. His art will be shown on Tuesday of next week at Rebar. He's doing a whole collection.
Oh, wow. Nice, man. Dope.
So everybody should head out and support our friend the Turbo Lizard.
Yeah.
That's his actual name. Ted Theodore, the Turbo Lizard.
On the birth certificate, or at least
just his
Social
license.
Security. Driver's license.
I've not seen his birth certificate, but I know it says Theodore the Turbo Lizard on his driver's license.
That counts. That's the same thing.
Yeah.
We're not going to hold you to whatever you're born with. That's we here in so many ways. But yeah, that was hard for him and I and a lot of creators in Pandy time. I felt like he got in a funk, especially, and it was a really neat to. This is also another plug of something that he did, but also shamelessly for us too, bring back a hardware set of him streaming right here a few episodes ago. So if you go to greasyconversation.com, there's an awesome streaming performance by Ted, multicam, just so elegantly rehearsed on his part that I can't recommend it enough. You can't miss it. You can use the search box at the bottom of the website too.
Oh man.
I have to tell him I ran into him today. He was like out in front of the bar smoking a bunch of cigars, just being the man.
Nice. That's funny. Where am I?
Oh, I think it might be time to check off some AI boxes.
Yeah. Well, real quick, this is where I was at.
Okay, gotcha.
So NASA has found a 6-star system where stars are constantly orbiting each other, and it's got a layout of its proposed, or I guess assumed orbits, but it's like 3 binary stars that are like linked in orbits with each other.
Your Easter eggs and headlines on these things are great.
Yeah, that's what I was imagining. Like in the future, if humans ever get off Earth in a permanent way, and then we can visit each other.
When we do, because we've got to have a backup for humanity. So it's a hard when. It's going to be a big when we get off the solar system. But,
But
get
like,
into another celestial body, we got to.
well, I know we got to, but that's different than
if we will.
gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I just imagine like, is there going to be like competition?
Sorry.
Between how many stars you are, like your planet's in?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's cool. You 1-star piece of shit.
Oh, you just have 1 star on
Yeah.
your... Oh, all right, whatever.
I guess like, yeah.
It doesn't get too hot though.
1 star is cool.
I remember when I only had 1 star. But these orbits are insane. Let me make sure I'm showing you all. I thought it was going to be like, what is that, Sony PlayStation, where the stars come and they go in a circle, and it's like...
Oh, and then they all drop to the bottom. Right?
Something like that.
Like
I think
the
I'm thinking
title
about
screen? I don't
PlayStation 2
remember.
title screen.
Yeah.
I thought they were just going to spin in a ring.
Oh, maybe.
And they don't. It turns out that you've got 1 monster orbit, and then you've got 1 pair of them. Because apparently binary stars are the norm. We're discovering that we're actually weird having only 1 star and not at least 2. Or at least, or like regularly 2. Like 2 is really common apparently. Which is kind of romantic. So you've got 1 binary star where they're orbiting with each other. And then that's going in a bit of a ringy-do orbit with another pair of them. It's like pairs on pairs. It's really fractally. So these two couples are like in 1 little orbit together. It's like 1 little group, and then they sometimes bump into this couple, but like they live further away. It's crazy.
I like it. I want to live there.
It's polygamy.
I want to live there on the star.
What if this is like how polygamy is meant to work in like sets
Like
of
star
2?
polygamy?
Like you still have you have a main bitch, you know what I'm saying? And then like your side hoe has a main man. And like you and him can be bros too. But like there's also this other couple you bump into sometimes. And like they're tight but they don't live as close, and like, you know, you might play an online game with a dude.
Isn't that like just like a cult though?
No, see in a cult
That's
you
just
have
like
the
regular
one,
Vegas like
I guess
swinging.
that's when you all live in the same building.
all the differences between this and
On
a
a
cult
farm.
is what I'm excited about, or a commune or something like this, because these are all examples of plural marriage that tend to not work. When you have like 1 patriarch or matriarch and then all these like followers, so to speak, and then sometimes the followers have like little relationships too, but it all points to the top of this social pyramid scheme situation. Whereas this, you still have these individual family units. They just kind of swap an electron sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So to get all molecular with it. Yeah, I'm trying to science myself some game over here. Don't judge.
All right. Where are we going? Oh, should we do the whole GameStop thing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think we need to.
I want to hear
Yeah.
each
Talk about
person's take on it, and I'm willing to hear you guys' takes first before I destroy them. No, I mean,
Destroy
add
the
to them.
takes or just destroy.
I meant to say
all.
like drop my takes and have them just generally be better somehow. I meant to like
Damn.
like
All
rudely
right.
competitively, but it wasn't very well formed at all. But
No, me and my partner, we got in on it. I guess like
Oh, did you?
a few days before, like I guess it really popped.
nice.
Nice.
You climb in a little more? Or-
Oh yeah. So we actually did all the Reddits. We picked up like the 5 ones that they
so
were
like
talking on the
AMC
board.
movie theaters too.
Oh yeah, that like
That's
Nokia, BlackBerry, and then,
I
like,
forgot about those.
Yeah, so there were 5 in this like really crappy clothing company.
I felt like I heard about this too late to play
Naked.
with it.
So
Yeah.
we
It's gotta wait for my next paycheck.
So we played with it, and it was really funny. Like 2 days after we played with it, we weren't allowed to trade them. We weren't allowed to buy anymore.
Who were you using
Were
for
you
your
going
brokerage?
through Robinhood?
No, I was
actual
actually
broker?
using TD Ameritrade, but
Yeah, I heard
everything
like
was-
all the retail brokers, not just Robinhood, were kind of shutting it
Yeah,
down.
so
right?
they wouldn't let us buy like more than 1 to 5 stocks of anything, and it was like really intense. But we didn't get short sold on like all the Robinhood people who like woke up and they sold their stocks for them, which is kind of crazy. 'Cause That's
Oh.
what pushed the price all the way down.
So the price came back down because they were forced to be sold by
Yeah,
Robinhood?
by like
That's gnarly.
Yeah, so they wanted to push down the prices, hoping that everybody who owned them
on the Reddit boards would fold and like just sell because the price would start going down. So they actually forced sale, which I didn't think was legal. I didn't think you were allowed to sell somebody's stock without
I don't think you
asking
are.
them.
Yeah.
Well, this is what's in debate because those terms of service.
I've never really read up on Robinhood and what they do, but I know it affected me for owning that stock because so many people had that stock on Robinhood.
I skimmed the terms of service, and I don't remember. Of course, I don't remember or not if they put in there the ability to do that. But that's an awful lot of foresight if they put that in their terms of service.
There's no way it's in their terms of service that like, oh, we can sell your stocks if we want to.
You'd think they would.
If we ran out,
some
we're going to
people
run
would
out of
call
money.
that out. Yeah, we're going to run out of money. We can sell your stocks for you. Oh, because you don't. Another tricky thing with Robinhood is you don't own the stock. You own a percentage of it. They own it, and they're selling you a little.
Oh, then they can do
pie
whatever they
slice
want.
of it. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
then they're allowed to sell your stocks. All
Yeah, because it's not your stock.
Yeah,
but
Only
I
renting stock.
looked back at the board just to see what's going on. Most people aren't selling. Like everything's stabilized, so I can't imagine them falling anytime soon. But we'll see.
As of a couple days ago, when I last refreshed on it, it seemed like it had still made. It was still like oddly high as far as GameStop too, like artificially inflated still.
Oh yeah, no, it's more than artificially inflated. There's no way a $3 stock should be worth $360 ever. That is way too high of a percentage to go from $3 to $360. There's no reason for that.
Even if it was a company whose model wasn't failing.
Well, that's the thing. They only picked companies who had failing business models.
Yes. Absolutely.
Which
Well, 'cause
I think.
they wanted to target short sellers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is like
The
this
hedge
brings
funds.
up the whole ethical umbrella over all this is how much should short selling be allowed, and how messed up is the short selling and profiting off of failure. How much should that be encouraged or tolerated as a business to begin with? And there's this whole overarching opinion that I've been taking away from this, that there's two factions. And they both have young people in it, but metaphorically, there's the old way of doing it, the old institutions. And a lot of times, I mean, you look at the Robinhood guys, like younger than any of us, like they put as the talking head of that. That's like the dude behind that. They're trying to do it the way that's been known to be done, like honest or not. They feel like this is an encroachment and like this shouldn't be questioned. The whole institution of short selling on that level, and the other people are bringing up this point that like, hey, if you're allowed to short sell unchecked and already questionably profit off of other people's failure, we should be allowed to buy the same quantity in the other direction, as irrational or irrational as it seems or not. Like, even regardless of this company's business model, we should be able to buy as much as we want with the same amount of freedom. And not be limited because, it might hurt these people that were already... Like, who's limiting the other people hurting from their short selling?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Well, this is the first time there's ever been regulations in place, not just on Robinhood, but like across the board. They're really looking into trying to put regulations within the market, which have never really happened before because...
Well, this type of regulations, because there's a bunch of regulations.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, like, to the point where...
Not on this kind of thing.
Yeah, to try to really limit penny stocks and things like that. It's really interesting.
I think, I don't know. I always feel like stuff like this happens and it's going to be like, yeah, this is going to be the thing and it's going to wrangle in Wall Street. And then I'm like, nah.
It doesn't end up wrangling in Wall Street because Wall Street is fundamentally tied to the regulating.
Exactly. So they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But it's being highlighted, though, and then new generations of people get involved with both those organizations and ideally might ethically change things. If they were alienated on the outside, then they grow up, so to speak, and be kind of like the end of SLC Punk, where he ends up becoming a lawyer after hating. Yeah. It's like you can fight it from the inside.
Amazing movie, terrible end.
But so that's what I think there's a hope in, that perhaps like this will be something where the people that are the little guys now that are being treated unfairly in this, some of them might be inspired to get involved with some of the regulation in the future.
Well, I feel that even though all these individuals, like these millions of people on Reddit who are holding onto these stocks, it could last for a couple of years. It could just be like another .com and then bust,
Yeah, because these people got into it with recreational money anyway.
Exactly, and then they made a ton of money, and they're probably going to hold it there because they think they're reinvesting it in these other really short sold stocks.
Yeah,
So.
because so many people did it with both recreational money and also did it from like trying to prove something. Like they didn't expect to make a bunch of money. They wanted to get them.
Try to fuck the system, and I think that
fuck
was
the hedge funds.
that was
highlight that. Yeah,
that the whole idea behind it. So
they've got every reason to leave the money in there, unless the company folds for some other reason.
Well, that's why they could. Who knows what's going to happen, like the next quarter when things roll around? But I think there might be enough money in some of these stocks where, who knows?
What if GameStop
becomes the Fortune 500 and like stays there?
They're just like whatever.
They come right next to Tesla.
What if they pivot? See, what would be smart is if they take this windfall, somehow cash it out some, in a way that they can invest in a pivot. And I don't know how you do it with that name, but you can always change your name and be the same people and just do a different business model that's actually more functional or a virtual and stuff, like less tangible media being necessary in your business model.
Yeah. No, they're all going to retire. Every person, every higher up at GameStop will retire.
We got a way out, boys. We got a way out.
The parachutes have arrived.
Oh, damn.
If I was a GameStop executive, that's for sure what I would do.
Oh, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah. Later.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
You're cool.
Fuck you, I'm out. Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, so overall just and it was even a worse like aspect of this is like these guys who own these hedge funds that were the big short sellers for these stocks like came out on all the like business like MSNBC business and all that type of stuff and tried to like make it seem like these individual traders are like almost criminal.
I know.
It was insane, man, because like that's just
they're just doing what you do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Now, have you seen the videos made by some of these individual traders? Because it turns out a couple people I was already following on YouTube anyway got involved with this, and their excitement and like pivoting their channel a little bit to talk about this was really cool and interesting.
No, I've only really been reading the message boards, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I like Reddit.
Yeah.
So.
I'd say Wall Street Bets is a fun one, too, because most of the time, like, Wall Street Bets is, like, people pretending to, like, lose their life savings and then getting called autistic, and then, like, you know, other people pretend suicide. Some people really suicide, and then other people get called autistic, and then some people make a lot of money, and they still get called autistic, so it's a great place. It's a lot of fun, actually.
It's got me excited in that way when I first discovered 4chan.
Yeah, similar, yeah.
Back when 4chan was like influencing culture in ways that people had no idea where these were coming from. Like all these famous memes, people had no idea that they started in this little message board, and they're already passe and old before they ended up on I Can't Has Cheeseburger and stuff.
Yeah. All right. AI time?
We made it.
We did.
It's the moment you've been waiting for. AI time.
First one. AI can whoop your ass at games without knowing the rules.
Without knowing the rules!
That was so close. You knocking over your soda.
Yeah,
all
right
over the
onto
mixing
mixer.
board and everything else.
All over a Behringer mixing board.
Damn.
Good riddance.
That would have been a great time.
Yeah, go a couple episodes back for why I'm pissed at Behringer. I won't go into it again right now.
But so I'm sure like people have seen the stories of the last couple of years. No longer than that. I mean, they made what was it? Deep Blue. That was the chess computer that beat Garry Kasparov. That was in like the late 90s, I think, which wasn't really an AI.
Oh, and I have plenty of AI stories too if there's time at the end. That's
yeah,
cool.
totally.
We're gonna make time because our AI stories, boy, that's fun to put together. Are in our notes already for everyone to check our sources and all that. Yours, they're just inside that little head. And we gotta pull them out.
Yeah. With medical tools.
Yeah, but we'll prompt you. I mean, like we'll trigger you or something.
And then there was the last couple of years, AlphaZero, which beat the world champion Go player. Which like there's a cool documentary on Netflix about that.
And it's a true AI with like a neural net and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas Deep Blue was more just like logic, more so.
And like a database.
Yeah, database style.
And it even like the way Deep Blue worked, like it had help from grandmasters and programmers on on site or some shit. I don't remember. It's been a long time.
Yeah,
But
just a quick layer for everybody with neural nets. Like logic, the way I mean it, like Boolean logic, like if statements is how things are usually programmed today. And like generally, if you can understand how to make an opening and closing tag or bracket or whatnot, and just generally understand commands being inside one another sometimes, or a loop opening and closing, you understand that, and you understand if statements. If this, then the thing in this loop do it. You can pretty much program in most languages. Like, congratulations, you just learned how to code. But this neural net situation, it learns itself. You can't just go in there and change the code. It ends up in a form that's not like really editable. It's like how neurons are connected together, and that it simulates that to do it. Right? Okay, I've got legit expert confirmation now. Finally.
So this one, it's called Mu Zero. Plays Go, chess, shogi, and Atari games such as Miss Pac-Man, which is because like it's pretty easy to realize now that like you can, you can make an AI that can like beat a human at any type of like perfect information strategy game like chess or Go or something like that. But video games like don't always work that way necessarily. But it just boils down the whole structure of a game into 3 different questions, which is how good is the current position, what is the best action to take next, and how successful was the last action. So it uses those 3 questions as like the framework for
it's like as long as it can
humans.
figure out what winning is, it can take it from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Or tell if it won.
That's
or
pretty
not.
much how it is. Yeah, it was like I can't remember what it's called, but the documentary about Go was really interesting because the way they talk about it, like when it was playing the games against the world champion, who was like by far like the best player of the game, who's like won all the world tournaments for the last like 10 years or some shit, like a real freak, you know what I'm saying?
Speaking of freaks, Ange says you're already off the world in a permanent way.
It's true. Yeah, I am practically off the world. But when it played Go, it would do a lot of like moves that everyone else thought were nonsensical, that like it would just like say like play a piece in the corner that has no effect on the game anymore.
Interesting.
And it made all these what they call slow moves that don't immediately affect the game, but it didn't need to make any other moves to win. It like still won.
Because it played the rest of the game out, but like strategically put those moves in the beginning. So like after it worked out all the calculations, that's what would happen.
Yeah, it was like overall in the battle, because like Go is a game where you try to cover a board and divide it up in territory, and whoever has the most territory counted in points or half points wins. But like humans would probably might have like a subconscious desire to win by the most points or something like that, but the computer doesn't. It doesn't care if it wins by 1 or a half point. It just wins, you know. And if like making slow moves in the middle of that gets the same result, it does that.
It's interesting seeing these curves in neural nets. And I've seen this before, like say in the YouTuber that taught the computer how to rap by feeding it rap, or like another thing was like singing, or there's a few different.
There's a bunch of them, like where they make the video games themselves, where like you just have the programs, like you just feed it a bunch of games and they create the video games.
I have not seen that.
I don't think I've seen that
crazy.
either. I saw something similar.
I'll look up the link for that one, and
I'm interested in that shit. I think was that like, did that have to do with the game Snake, or maybe I heard that?
No,
they had an AI.
But basically they made it watch like a bunch of like old school games like Mega Man and like NES, and like the games that it created were like really cool, like
platformers and stuff. That sounds dope.
Yeah,
I'd be into that.
Yeah, we'll get it pasted in the news notes later. That's a living document, so it can get updated at any time. So we'll paste his link in it sometime, worst case, at the end of the episode. I wanted to bug you. Well, what else do you have going on in this? Because there's going to be something that comes up a lot in these that I always see, and that's these curves. I scrolled too far, but I wanted to see.
Yeah, now you're at the formulas. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally know what those are.
For reals.
At least I know the symbols.
Yeah, and then you get to like, you understand the language of it enough to plug it into something that does the formula. Yeah, that's what I thought. Some of those I don't. I have to use some calculator. But there's a lot of these curves that have this similar shape as an AI is learning something, where it has to do with how much it compares the source material to what it's trying to create, and keeps a measurement of how close it thinks it is. And some of these, that measurement peaks, and it just can't perceive how to get it closer without more example information. And it like hits this apex. So it was crazy the amount of tuning. Rather than like programming per se, they would tune it by what was fed into it to see how it would, how it could really tell how much it was like it or not. How much it was like it or not. You're with me on that.
I actually knew what you meant.
Right.
Surprising. So one of the games is called Death Walls.
Great. So I'll link Death Walls.
And there's a bunch of articles about it, but they just made it watch like a bunch of old things. But yeah, Death Walls is like an AI created video game. It's pretty cool.
That's dope.
There's an article about it on Vice, and there's one about it on Analytics India. Mag.
Cool. So I'm dropping the Vice one in for everybody. And
oh yeah, that's a good article. Yeah, I couldn't find that one on my phone, but yeah, there's a few that like show how they actually created.
That's awesome.
By what they were feeding it into.
Oh, yeah.
So any AI story you've got going on, Jonah? Raise your hand. If there's one triggered already, throw it out.
Oh no, I think it's so interesting. I think the combination of artificial intelligence, there's something about the like language, like making something that can speak, that I think is the most interesting. I like video games are cool, but like actually trying to using AI to give something a voice and like having it like control things. I think that is the most nuanced, interesting part about it. And that always gets me. Like I'll play video games all day, but like there's something so human about like the voice or like mimicking human action, not just like it creating something like really cool like a video game that always. I think that's even more interesting. But you should play one of those videos and see how cool it is.
Whoa,
oh man, so it made little platformers.
Death Wall comes at you.
Yeah, it comes at you.
Oh, it's spooky.
That's funny.
The way the little dot is walking is too cute.
There's two that way. So basically that's like a combination of like Mega Man and like a few Super Nintendo games that it was fed into, and this is what it shot out. Yay.
Oh, you
got Mario in there? All
yeah,
right.
there is. There's
That's
definitely
cool.
some of that in there.
That's interesting.
And there's a second one, Killer Bounce, right?
So for the radio people, we're actually just seeing blocks. It looks like squares jumping on other squares.
I know, it's not too exciting.
Like squishing to walk. There's no detail, but it's all about the gameplay.
It's true.
It's fun.
And the whole look of it is already really cool. These pulsing red walls made out of 1 row versus 3 rows of giant pixels.
It's intense, right?
It's freaky.
You should check out the one under it too when you're done with
It's
this
funny that like the concept that it created is like giant red walls coming after you. Like
this is like Breakout upside down. So the little guy just bounces on blocks, and the blocks disappear, and you bounce on them. And if you run out of blocks to bounce on, you can just fall. And that's a brilliant gameplay model. Like I can't believe I've never seen this.
Thank AI.
Yeah, it came up with something genuinely novel.
It's cool.
Yeah,
it's really
because you get like bits of that in some games, like once in a while with like disappearing blocks and stuff like that, but
a whole game
not as like the whole concept. Yeah,
oh,
it's
make
pretty
it
interesting.
over. Oh.
Yeah,
no, I've read this
pretty
article.
impressive.
It's good. Yeah.
Or those games where you go higher and higher by bouncing off of things, like app-based. I see all that influence in this, but never like this combo where it's also side-scrolling. And the level design is another thing. Like
it's like all these level designs are like forever. Like I'm pretty sure like
it starts out harder and gets easier, or easier and gets harder. Like you naturally would want to design a level. Like and then there's that wall all of a sudden. So there's like cleverness in the level design that it's doing too. Look, these platforms go up, so you can make your way up that way instead, and then hop to that platform to get over. Like you can see how they designed the level. They to have this progress.
You mean 011001.
That fella, exactly. All 00 we call him.
I'm glad I could share a little bit.
Holy crap, hella. So there is also an AI. No, you talked about the one that can play a game without knowing the rules.
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh wait, do you know that they can make their own?
Yeah, haven't I seen that? That's awesome.
Oh, and then there was another AI that like critiques games or something like that, right? What was
No, there's one that judges art.
And then another one that creates art.
Interesting. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll watch the art one. I feel like I've read this before, but like.
Yeah, I can't tell how new it might be. A little older of an article, but there was one about.
I'm just happy to be included.
I gotta find one. There was a piece of art that was created by an AI that was sold for.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't see this.
Like $500,000.
I made one of my classes read this article like
2
years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. Or I don't remember when it happened, but
yeah, it did happen a few years ago. This article is
can't
remember. I read it this morning.
Well, I'm like taken aback because
it sold for $500,000, right?
Yeah, it was like 400,
Oh, yeah.
450, 432. So it's, yeah.
is its signature a formula at the bottom?
No, I think that's the code. So
Whoa.
that they made the signature the code that they used, right? Or the formula is
Right on.
what they used to program it.
Naturally, there's got to be more details to those variables than what we're seeing in that bit. It's like, oh yeah, what does that variable mean though? This is genuinely compelling though. Like I'm honestly
I like
feeling
the
it.
piece of art. Yeah, I love that the depth and like not knowing in the face and like the background fuses into him. I don't know. It's just well done.
Yeah, it's a cool piece.
The fact that it makes you like feel something and like leaves you wondering things at the same time, it straddles that line that a lot of art is supposed to do of giving you questions to ask. In storytelling too, that's a thing you set up the reader to have questions and like want to know the answers to those. Like there's all kinds of like things that your brain is like left asking looking at this.
Yeah, like
but like wanting to know though.
So there's enough contrast where you can make out actual imagery in it, and then there's enough gray area where you could get lost in.
Yeah, like you see a blurry face, and the face seems to have a really neutral, easy to project on emotion. And that's another thing is like the emotional projection factor. Whoa.
But I wonder if it like actually says anything about an AI producing a work of art, or if it's that
he used it to
art dealers saw an opportunity to make money. That's what I thought when I
there was plenty of that in the article.
Wow.
Like, is this just going to be a new way to? But I think it's because it was like one of the first done, and it was really well done. I bet.
Yeah.
Who knows like how many art pieces were created that just would not resonate, or I'm curious to what they fed it. Like I'm curious like
solid question.
How much actual like romantic for me this was like Baroque or romantic period art like was fed into this computer, so because they're learning, like that's the whole point of AI. It learns and then it can reproduce.
Yeah. So it's like when you diss someone's art by calling it derivative. It's like
Exactly.
kind of exactly that definition of that.
Yeah.
So have you heard about this one where you tell it something to draw and it draws it a bunch of different ways?
I have. This one's great.
you
Are you
would've
gonna
had to,
play it right now?
I'm just rolling through some of some examples of it.
Oh no, I think you can actually put it in and you
and
can
do it in
tell
real time?
Yeah, you can do it in real time. There's definitely I've used it before.
called Dolly.
Awesome. I thought it had to be hosted somewhere.
I don't
know.
think so. I think you could just.
Oh my gosh.
Are you excited? What are we gonna do? Are you gonna go Woz? right
Do I
off
never,
the bat.
Do I never not?
There was some. I'll look it up on my phone. I definitely have done this.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure if it's hosted right now anywhere. From what this article was saying.
What?
Yeah, I couldn't find where to
actually make it.
Yeah, to use it.
So in the example we're looking at, they had they inputted an avocado that looks like a chair, or it was a chair made out of an avocado, an armchair in the shape of an avocado.
It was the line that somebody typed in, right?
It was the line someone typed in.
Yes,
It came up
'cause
with all these examples that look like legit armchairs that are avocado-like. Another one was like a cartoon radish walking a dog. And some of them are like look like something someone would draw.
Baby daikon radish in a tutu walking a dog.
One of them is like weirdly provocative, like it's taking a poop and the head is a radish in a tutu. And
So there's only like one that's like really distinctly like inked, like the outline is really bold, and the rest of them are not like that, which is weird.
yeah, like what influence got that one? snail. The snail harp ones are terrible. That one didn't go as well.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
So that. Why?
No, we're gonna find this.
We'll critique them.
Oh, not critique it. We should be able to do it.
Okay, holler if you find that. In the meantime, what's another one we can knock out? Because we're at like the last 10 minutes of the show.
What happened?
I know, right?
Is
you know
it
what we
like
should
got
do?
here late or?
No, you weren't late.
Oh, I did want to. How about this?
All right, here's one. I found one. Okay, well, it's not exactly the same, but it's called deepai.org machine learning. It's a text to image API. So the link is deepai.org. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Let's make it happen.
So let's make one with each other.
Let's make a WAS first.
Okay.
Let's see what we get. But we have to. Let's make a phrase though.
Yeah, let's make one together. Let's all make a piece of it. Come up with.
Why don't you ask people who are watching? Let's see if we can get some input.
Right. There's some of that going on.
Maybe we have people watching.
The first thing pops is Waz likes.
We do. They come
onions.
and go from the chat.
Waz likes onions.
Yeah.
I was just saying Waz.
Boy, do I love onions.
Waz burps after onions.
Well, the burping is hard. Let's make it so. So let's
Waz juggles onions.
Onion highlight. How do you spell highlight?
Oh God.
Onion.
Wow.
Highlight.
I think it's with a J. It's like Jailai. I'm pretty sure. Is that close? I think it starts with a J. It's like J, one of those little.
Oh man.
Things.
Ooh, and if this one's bad, I found a separate version of something that does the same thing. I got your back, guys.
Chef.
That thing's awesome.
Driving garbage.
Oh, you're going
truck.
all out with this. Okay.
Onion chef driving a garbage truck.
Ooh.
I love it. It just made a weird garbage truck
on a trailer, maybe. I don't know. It looks
Is that
shitty.
like a small food cart?
I want to try. Let's
Like,
see what happens if I
that's
have it try again. This idea it has of a garbage truck looks like just a chunk of machinery that can't drive or anything.
So weird.
Let's
do some more.
Onion
Right, this is fun.
Birthday party.
What is it?
I did onion birthday party.
Oh, I'm all about it.
Onion birthday party.
There's a figure
Oh my
skater
God.
involved. Saving this. Oh.
I think we found Waz's next album art.
Oh my
for
gosh.
his for the next mixtape he's about to drop.
That's one of the greatest things.
No, the first one was way better, but
It
that's
was.
intense.
This
That
looks
is
like
intense.
a slam dunk.
These are crazy, man.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I was like, there's no way we're not finding this. I've used these things before.
What about an exploding guitar? Ew! It more looks
His
like a
whole body
person's
is
guts.
exploding combined with the guitar. That's insane.
I don't even see a guitar. I just see weird spine bones.
I think the middle, that red part, should be guitar,
Wow.
and the arm is coming out.
Try again. Oh, this person's playing a guitar that's part of their forearm. Wow.
I think we can do better than exploding guitar. Check your watchers, see what they got.
Yeah. Let's see if people popped in. Because Waz and Goldfish.
Do it.
Well, Goldfish, what am I?
No, you gotta write it, like how they put it, because it all matters how you did the terms.
So what is Waz to this AI? Oh gosh! Ew, I just got a goldfish with an extra eye.
No, he's got some weird things going on. That's intense. See if there's any more.
What about a computer goldfish?
Do you want to try the other one?
Commuter goldfish. Yeah, what's the ew?
That's strange. All right, so the other one I found was experiments.runwayml.com.
One moment. I'm just going to put this at the very bottom of the chat, everybody. Or not of the chat, of the news notes, so you can try this one.
Maybe
so you
this
said
one,
Runway, was it?
Yeah, it's called experiments.runwayml.com. It's a generative engine. Yeah.
So I think get started now.
I think so. I don't know. Mine went right to the page when I typed it in.
I have to make an account and stuff, but we'll still link it in for you guys to try it. Okay.
So this was
Well, wait. We've got 5 minutes left in the show. Let's skim a couple things, and we've got all these in our news notes to have you all play with at greasyconversation.com. Just click on this episode. And also, we'll go into more AI stuff in another episode, too. This will be an ongoing thing.
Are you ready?
Oh,
I just typed in the greasy conversation on this one, just to see.
I'll like see what it generates for greasy
Yeah.
conversation. So, it's weird. It looks like a little party scene, but
What is
like
it?
colorful carpet.
That is, yeah, man. That about sums it up.
Yeah. So we got the main headlines. Was there any other highlights? that you
I did want to
noticed?
check out the VR brain interface, man.
Yes.
I've been dreaming of that shit.
So there's actually a couple of them that this.
It was like way at the bottom.
Yeah. So there, this YouTube I linked talked
it's all
about a
blurry?
couple
I guess
different
it's got a blur- yeah.
products that are coming together for VR. There's a couple new brain interfaces coming. They tend to be really low resolution, and tend to be like rather slow to respond.
Interesting.
But it's something that has potential, and some experts are saying that eventually the meat interfaces that we're familiar with now will be really passé, and it'll be all about this direct brain stuff that is visible in like a little part of this. It's hard to skip around.
Well,
the
because that
parts
would be
of
like that would be the dream, is just to have like a helmet or something you could put on that would put you like totally immersive. And,
Oh, yeah.
To where you actually like felt like you were in there. I mean, that would be the VR dream, but I don't think that
I think we need the full suit. I think there's got to be the full bodysuit for
haptic
that.
feedback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either that or you're jumping in a pod.
Yeah,
Getting
something
in a
like
pod. Getting in a pod.
That'd be
Getting in a pod.
You gotta have a sound. That's the sound
The
effect.
pod
for-
closing.
Oh, come on.
All right. That's a pod closing.
That's
like
a pod
that's like
exploding into space.
Yeah,
That's
don't tell me that's not a pod.
That's-
You're telling me that's not a pod.
VR PlayStation start sounds.
Oh yeah, that would be funny. Or this
That's what
one.
it is. That's exactly what you want to hear before you like plug into your VR adventure.
It's a weird breath
Let
at the
somebody
end.
just flush you down the toilet.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other last nuggets for the tail end?
No,
we
we just had some like robot fishes and
I got a little panicky. We do actually have more like 10 minutes.
Cut us short for no reason. Come on, Waz.
I had seize control. This robot fish is freaking worth it. I used it for the promo graphic, and it's not only adorable, but it's cool seeing something like this move around. In this example, it's moving around more in 2D, but they will form a circle formation at one point. They bumble into each other all adorably. There's also a mode where they would swarm or like gather. And, you know, at first you're like, okay, this is like drones can already do this in 3D and make images in the sky now, or like spell things with drones positioning themselves. But imagine if you had a 3-dimensional display. Like imagine if you nanoed this and all these things were like legit pixel sized in a liquid or suspended in a gas that they can float in, something neutral buoyant.
Okay, I get
so
it.
that they could go up and down and closer and further away from you. They could be pixels in a display where you could visualize things in 3 dimensions with this. In that case, it might be like a cool way to do a 3D like plotter, so to speak. Especially for like
I
mapping.
can
out.
definitely see people owning this instead of actual fish.
Oh
Wanting to
is
purchase
it-
these and like put them in some sort of giant tank.
Yeah, I
Oh,
would
yeah.
totally.
You feed
I'd be
less.
down for some robot animals.
I'd rather have an AI pet than an AI butler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Because I feel
Especially
like
at
the butler would turn. Like he'd be the first one to turn on me.
Think so?
I wouldn't think turning, but I'd yell at him more. Like I'd get so mad. a robot butler would fail more at its job than what a pet's job is.
Yeah, like the fishes and like the beauty about the pet fish is like what's really their job besides swimming around. It's not like
true.
You have to pet them or feed them or something.
See, I would have like a robot cat that was also the butler. Just, you know,
Good luck training that robot.
Hey,
cat
hey, he
butler.
could do it, but you know, you just pop in a little AI and be like, "Hey, you're the butler now."
It's hard to find a butler that also functions as a pet.
It's true.
In some ways, that's like a spouse.
Yeah, this is my. Oh yeah, no, this is just my pet butler.
It's like we're not married or anything.
Man,
I'm not married to my pet butler.
How can I get a pet if I want to be the pet?
Just like
So you need a robot owner? Is that what you're looking for? You're ready for the...
Yeah.
So it's happened. The uprising has already become, and you're ready to accept your role as secondary to your robot master.
This is why the fact that you said secondary and that you say that like I would be subordinate to my master or like subordinate as a pet. I feel like that's a problem with how we see relationships in general. Like when I mentioned that I might have a spouse that's a pet and a butler, that doesn't mean I can't also be a pet and a butler to them. I think you can have two-way petship. I mean, think about how cats operate.
Whoa, slow down.
It's just
you're saying your switch with your robot cat butler.
Well, what I'm saying is there's a difference in like the regular relationship with a cat compared to the regular relationship with a dog. Obviously, there's animals that are exceptions and pets that are exceptions. But for the most part, to train a cat, you have to kind of make it think that it trained you. Am I wrong? Like, it's got to be in on whatever you try to get it to do. You've got to talk it into it. You've got to motivate it rather than just assume you can, like, threaten or scare it or other ways get it to do what you want. You've got to make it what it wants, too. And in that way, you can tell the cat starts to think that it, just like how we might think of our relationship with horses. How much are we, like, with a horse the way a cat is with us? And trying to get them to do work, us to do work for them. We do tons of work for cats. And all of it involves them kind of talking us into it by like being cute and nice and exchanging like physical communication of love. And all that coercion is from them to us to get us to do stuff for them. Otherwise, they could just like shred us, just like a horse can just like kick your head off if you didn't coerce it into being your buddy.
So I get your point, but how do you see yourself in this role with your robot owner?
Oh, good point. I did kind of
you paint
away
yourself
from
in
that.
such a corner that you're.
I want to be coerced. I want
to be coerced by your robot owner.
I want to be courted by my
and you want to
robot
coerce
owner.
the robot.
Yeah.
Okay,
cute tricks.
In both ways. Like, I know, instead of programming it, like, I have to do cute tricks, exactly.
To get the nicer collar?
Yeah. So instead of, I give it electricity and all that, and the analogy breaks down at some points, but, like, it like, wants me, like, this is getting sad now. Next topic.
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to. That was too real.
That was funny.
It got too real.
Oh damn, man.
Like I want to have to
now.
earn its affection. I want to be challenged trying to.
That's hilarious. Man, then we had tree planting robots.
We finally figured out why wombats poop cubes. I thought we broke that a few episodes ago.
No, you mentioned it, and that's why that one jumped out at me.
But we didn't know why they poop the cubes.
Yeah, and it's pretty much just like because the way their digestive system works, like they have a particular
little hammers that shape it, and
yeah, compact it. Even though they're not like really cubes anyway.
They're cylindrical shaped, right?
Yeah, they're kind of like flat sides, but they're not like cubes.
They're not perfect. I've seen better cubes.
Yeah,
I've
shit better cubes.
It's definitely not a hypercube. I'll tell you that much.
No. Oh my gosh, what's a hypercube? I forgot.
What? We're talking about like the Tesseract.
The four-dimensional.
Yeah, it's a cube in a cube that constantly envelops itself.
That's right. Okay.
Tesseract.
We call it the Tesseract in the math world because we came up with that word before Marvel stole it.
Totally. It
true.
was already a thing.
Yeah, I know.
But they steal a lot of shit from everywhere.
Those thieves. Yeah, there it is.
When it eats itself is really cool. I'm trying to see the animation of it.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Whee!
There we go. Yes.
As it flies into our three-dimensional vision, we can see it happen.
There we go.
Because we're looking at it on a regular screen, so yeah.
I was talking with someone else about perceiving dimensions. It was really fun.
Well, like most engineers think time is the fourth dimension, and scientists really go that way. But us math people, we're just like, oh, we'll just throw another perpendicular bisector on it, and we'll make a new dimension. We can't really see it or perceve it, but that's how dimensions should work. So that's why we can go up to like 20 dimensions.
That's how you have to think about it.
Really cool.
What I brought this up for me is I was talking to someone about when two particles are quantum entangled.
Okay.
And the idea of taking one entangled particle far, far away and affecting the first one so that it affects the distant one in real time with no delay and getting faster than light communication then. And what if the reason that theoretically works is that those two particles are still right next to each other in a dimension that we don't perceive? So in 3 dimensions, we moved it far away. 4, if you want to consider in time and space, we've moved it far away. In the time it would take light to get over there, it's distant away in time too. So it's far away, but it's still the only reason why it's able to change in real time, spooky action at a distance, is because in another dimension that we're not perceiving, it's still right next to its buddy. They're not far away at all in this other plane that we have no perception.
Yep.
Yeah.
Could be.
I understand.
And if that's the case, and if all we are is data and a pattern of data as an intelligence, then you can have a consciousness over there and basically have faster than light travel, just not of tangible matter. It's faster than light travel of data that can then have a consciousness.
Do you think that's where deja vu comes from?
No. Maybe one of the deja vus. I'll allow that. Okay. Oh, no. Now we legit have to end.
Oh.
You guys, at the buzzer, Grungy Faucet. We end, but it doesn't end for you. Stay tuned or go to radiovegas.rocks and
not yet anyway.
Visit the 90s and those great album tracks that you might have
that's the one I always want to go to.
missed. Yeah. Or like your friends and you were like, oh, dude, that one track is the real cool one, not the stupid one that's on the radio. That's the great 90s deliciousness we're going to visit on Grungy Faucet with Kevin Fawcett, broadcasting over from Ely. And they're great. We couldn't do the station without them. Please help them support themselves too. All right. So we will see you guys not just next week, but Tuesday. Tuesday, tune into the Rock and Comedy Show at 6 to 9 p.m. on Tuesday, because I'm gonna hop on there on Tuesday between about 7 o'clock. We're gonna do is the Craigslist price right? Craigslist, is the price right?
Ooh, I like that game.
No infringement on copyright there. And now we do it on screen where you can see the items we're bidding on and all their weird glory. That'll be at the Radio Vegas Rocks YouTube. And then stay tuned for the new time slot for another show I produce, which is Haunted Saloon, immediately afterwards at 9 p.m. to 11. And then Two Clueless Tudes is back at Fridays at 5. So everyone's coming back. GreasyConversation.com for all these new Greasy podcasts coming on. Okay. And we're